Albert Einstein, a German-born theoretical physicist, became the most famous scientist of the 20th century and an icon of genius. His name is synonymous with intelligence. He won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, not for his theory of relativity, as many assume, but for his discovery of the law of the photoelectric effect. This discovery, which explained how light can eject electrons from a material, was foundational to quantum mechanics and had immense practical implications, including the technology behind solar panels and digital cameras. Of course, his fame transcended this discovery, driven by his theories of special and general relativity, which revolutionized our understanding of space, time, gravity, and the universe. Einstein was a global celebrity and used his fame to advocate for pacifist causes and civil rights. Being Jewish, he fled Nazi Germany and settled in the United States, where he became an outspoken critic of racism. While revered for his science, his pacifist and socialist views made him a controversial figure for some authorities who monitored him for years. Einstein was alive to receive his prize, and his legacy continues to shape modern physics. Alexander Fleming was a Scottish physician and microbiologist whose work saved countless millions of lives. In 1945, he shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine with Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain. The reason was his discovery of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic substance. The discovery happened by accident in 1928 when Fleming noticed that a mold Penicillium genus had contaminated one of his bacterial cultures and was killing the surrounding bacteria. He realized its potential, but it was Florey and Chain who, years later, developed a method to mass-produce penicillin, turning it into a viable drug in time to treat soldiers' infections in World War II. The introduction of penicillin marked the beginning of the antibiotic era, radically changing medicine and making previously fatal diseases like pneumonia, syphilis, and tuberculosis treatable. Fleming was known for his modesty, and although his initial discovery was the starting point, he always gave credit to Florey and Chain for turning it into a miracle drug. He was alive to receive the prize and is celebrated as one of humanity's greatest benefactors. Marie Curie, born Maria Salomia Skłodowska in Warsaw, Poland, was a pioneering figure who redefined science. Faced with the impossibility of pursuing higher education in her homeland for being a woman, she moved to Paris, where she graduated in physics and mathematics from the prestigious Sorbonne University. It was there that she met her future husband and scientific partner, Pierre Curie, and later became the first woman to teach at the institution. Her first Nobel Prize in physics was awarded in 1903, shared with Pierre and Henri Becquerel for their research on the phenomenon of radioactivity, a term she herself coined. Pierre's insistence was crucial for her work to be recognized by the committee. Her second Nobel in chemistry came in 1911, this time alone, the isolation of two new elements, polonium and radium. This achievement, the result of exhaustive work, was fundamental for the development of cancer treatments. Throughout her life, Marie faced intense sexism and xenophobia, often being belittled by the press and rejected by the French Academy of Sciences for being a woman and a foreigner. Even after a public scandal threatened her second prize, she stood firm. Marie Curie was alive and active in her research when she received both awards, leaving a legacy that paved the way for nuclear physics and modern medicine. Linus Pauling was one of the most versatile and influential scientists of the 20th century. Born in Oregon, USA, he was a founder of both quantum chemistry and molecular biology. His first Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1954 recognized his revolutionary research on the nature of chemical bonds, which applied the principles of quantum mechanics to explain the structure of complex molecules. His work was fundamental to the development of new drugs and materials. Years later, Pauling revealed another facet of his personality, that of a tireless activist. Horrified by the destructive power of nuclear weapons after World War II, he began a global campaign against atmospheric nuclear testing. His efforts, which included organizing a petition signed by thousands of scientists, were crucial to the creation of the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty and earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1962. This activism, however, made him a controversial figure in the United States during the Cold War, as he was accused of communist sympathies and had his passport temporarily revoked. Pauling was alive to receive both prizes and continued to be an influential public figure until his death. John Bardeen is the only person in history to have received the Nobel Prize in Physics twice, a testament to his quiet yet monumental impact on modern technology. Born in Wisconsin, USA, this physicist and electrical engineer changed the world with his first major achievement. In 1956, he shared the Nobel with William Shockley and Walter Broughton for the invention of the transistor at Bell Labs. This tiny semiconductor device replaced bulky and inefficient vacuum tubes, becoming the cornerstone of all modern electronics and kicking off the digital revolution. Without the transistor, computers, smartphones, and satellites would not exist as we know them. 16 years later, in 1972, Bardeen won his second Nobel, this time with Leon Cooper and John Robert Schrieffer, for developing the BCS theory. This was the first complete explanation for the phenomenon of superconductivity, where certain materials conduct electricity with no resistance at extremely low temperatures. The theory paved the way for technologies like MRI machines. Unlike many giants of science, Bardeen was known for his extreme modesty and reserved nature, shying away from the spotlight and always sharing credit with his colleagues. He was widely respected and was alive to receive both honors. Nelson Mandela was an anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader, and philanthropist who became South Africa's first black president. He shared the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 with F.W. de Klerk, the last president of the apartheid era. The prize was awarded for their work to peacefully end the apartheid regime and for laying the foundations for a new, democratic South Africa. For decades, Mandela fought against the institutionalized system of racial segregation in his country. This struggle led to him being imprisoned for 27 years, becoming a global symbol of resistance and the fight for justice. Upon his release in 1990, instead of seeking revenge, he preached reconciliation and unity, leading the negotiations that averted a civil war and established multiracial elections. The image of Mandela, from prisoner to president, inspired the world. He faced racism in its most brutal form, but his ability to forgive and build a united rainbow nation is his greatest legacy. He was alive to receive the prize, a moment that symbolized the hope of a new beginning for South Africa. James Watson, Francis Crick, and Maurice Wilkins, this trio of scientists received the 1962 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their discovery of the molecular structure of DNA. Their 1953 discovery of the double helix is considered one of the most important of the 20th century. James Watson, an American, and Francis Crick, a Briton, built the theoretical model, while Maurice Wilkins, a New Zealander, provided crucial X-ray diffraction data. The discovery revealed how genetic information is stored and copied, unlocking the secret of life and opening the door to the era of molecular biology and modern genetics. This led to incredible advances like genetic engineering, forensic DNA testing, and personalized medicine. The discovery, however, is marked by a major controversy. The clearest and most important X-ray data was produced by Rosalind Franklin, a colleague of Wilkins. Her data was shown to Watson and Crick without her knowledge or permission, and she died of cancer before the Nobel was awarded without receiving proper credit at the time. All three men were alive to receive the prize, but the debate over Franklin's role continues to this day. Frederick Sanger, a British biochemist, is often called the father of genomics for his transformative contributions to molecular biology. He is one of only 2 people to have won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry twice. His first prize, in 1958, was for a feat many considered impossible, determining the complete structure of the insulin protein. By mapping the molecule's amino acid sequence, he proved that proteins had a defined chemical structure, opening a new chapter in understanding life at the molecular level and enabling the production of synthetic insulin. 22 years later, in 1980, Sanger won his second Nobel for developing a revolutionary method for DNA sequencing. The Sanger method became the standard technology for decades, allowing scientists to read the genetic code quickly and efficiently. This invention paved the way for the Human Genome Project and revolutionized medicine, biology, and forensic science. Like Bardeen, Sanger was a dedicated and modest scientist who preferred lab work to fame, even declining a knighthood from the British Empire. He was alive and active when he received both of his prizes. The International Committee of the Red Cross is the only organization to have received the Nobel Peace Prize 3 times, a recognition of its indispensable role in times of war. Founded in 1863, the ICRC operates under the principles of neutrality and impartiality to provide humanitarian protection and assistance to victims of armed conflict worldwide. Its first Nobel was awarded in 1917 for its tireless work during World War I, especially in aiding prisoners of war. The second prize came in 1944 during World War II, reaffirming the organization's humanitarian ideals in the midst of the most devastating conflict in history. Finally, in 1963, on its centenary, the ICRC received its third Nobel for overseeing and promoting the Geneva Conventions, solidifying its legacy as the guardian of international humanitarian law. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, known as UNHCR, has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize twice for its vital work in protecting some of the world's most vulnerable populations. Created by the UN in 1950, the agency is mandated to lead international action to protect people forced to flee their homes due to war, persecution, or violence. The first Nobel was awarded in 1954 for its pioneering effort in assisting millions of European refugees after World War II. The second prize, in 1981, recognized the increasingly global scope of its work, providing assistance to refugees worldwide, often facing enormous political and logistical challenges to deliver humanitarian aid and defend the rights of the displaced.